welcome back to the Inner King podcast, the podcast exploring the utility in the modern world of this romantic notion of the archetypal king. My invitation is not to, while I really resonate with this archetype of king, I'm not necessarily advocating it for everyone, rather inviting the exploration, because I think that the archetype still has a lot to teach us about who we can be in the modern world with all of its complexities, how we can each be better men. For me, I take it on as a daily exploration. How can I be more of me? How can I show up as more of me? How can I occupy my space more authentically for myself and my full expression, but also for the people I care most about in my life? And so I'm sharing in this series the download that I received, the 12 epic virtues, I call them, or the King's Codes. These are at the essence of it. There are all sorts of practices and behaviors, of course, that go along with the archetype, but these 12 virtues, these 12 codes are really at the center of it. Last episode, we talked about the first code, the first virtue. I am an integral part of an infinite whole. And I invited you to sort of sit with that and marinate with that. So I'm curious, please do share in the comments what came from that exploration. And today I want to share a little insight, or my insights, into the second code about I hold virtue in my heart, love without condition, and honor those I hold dear. Now, at the center of this, of course, is love and who I can be as a man with a big heart and a feeling nature, and who I can show up as when I'm really willing to own that. And how often have, I was trained as an attorney. I went to law school. I practiced law in New York State for 20 years. And I was inculcated with a code of conduct, a code of honor, if you will. And that really meant something to me. I also studied the Constitution for decades and really believe, like, the precursors to the Constitution, for instance, I geek out on this conversation around what was going on in the colonies with who we refer to as our founding fathers, the conversations they and their wives were having about freeing themselves from the tyranny and the oppression of then King George, who we know more about, of course, had a lot of emotional stuff going on. He was not totally with it and was really retaliatory and nasty and put prices on these guys' heads. And when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, the last paragraph of the Declaration of Independence says so much about their state of mind. And they said, and in reliance upon God, essentially. And again, this is not a religious conversation. This is more of a universal spiritual conversation. This idea of relying on providence to protect us, even on money. They wrote, annuit coeptus, which means roughly in Latin, he favors our undertaking. So they had a sense, even if you take out manifest destiny and all that stuff, they had a sense that because what they were up to they felt was right, their undertaking was favored. And so they used language like, in reliance on this, we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And so I invite us as men to really put our arms around, when's the last time you talked to a guy in particular, or anyone for that matter, using language like that, not because it's flowery, but because it has gravitas? Like, is your sacred honor important enough to use it as evidence of your commitment to do something? Does it mean something to you? And this virtue speaks to that in my heart, that I hold that virtue in my heart, that I love without condition, meaning I'm willing to go to the edges of my capacity to love myself, to love my beloveds, to my children, my wife, etc., my family, and 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 do my best every day to honor those I hold dear, meaning respect their wishes, respect their sovereignty, respect the integrity of their decisions, all this stuff. So again, the I get into conversations sometimes, healthy debate with men who think that the king archetype has expired its useful life. And if that's true, I'm actually okay with that. I just, for me, it doesn't feel true. It feels like perhaps some adjustment is required. For instance, I'm not talking about the overbearing despot or ruler or dictator. I'm talking about the image of king that we have, who takes everyone's well-being into account, trusts himself with his judgment, seeks the counsel he needs, maybe of all of his best friends, and then makes a decision and follows and lives with the consequences of that decision. For me, that has so much to offer us as leadership lessons, as communications lessons, and as a leadership and communication alchemist, somebody who teaches speaker training and communication and leadership in the world. Those lessons, those themes are super valuable today, as relevant today as they were in ancient Greece and ancient Rome and ancient Europe, in Avalon, as we say. So the why this is so important to me, I'll just share personally, that in my friendships with my brothers, men in particular, my brothers, that in those conversations, I have had the experience of showing up as that guy who holds my brother to a standard, to a higher standard, not because I say so, but because it lives in their heart. And so I know for me that it's been so meaningful to hold my brothers in moments where they're really facing dilemmas about their relationship, dilemmas about their fatherhood and parenthood, dilemmas about managing their relationship with their sons and their daughters, and their sons, the women in their sons' lives and the men in their daughters' lives, and vice versa. And that has been so meaningful to me to hold that. So my invitation is, do you have guys in your life that hold you to that standard? Have you invited them to hold you to that standard? And are you actually willing to be held to that standard? And have you thought about what that standard means? And in my experience, a lot of guys have not really thought about what that standard means. And that's why I think the King's Codes for me have been so helpful. They offer something I can point to, not as just, I'm going to just embrace them, but I'm going to try them on. I'm going to explore them and embrace them if they fit. And that's my invitation. I mean, that's what we do in our coaching programs. That's what we do in this conversation. So it's what's inspired this podcast. And eventually we're going to have conversations with others and really invite the broader conversation and deeper exploration. What I want to share with you is, before we wrap up, is an invitation for some practical application. Like I invited in the last episode to really feel into, what does it mean, the first code, I am an integral part of an infinite whole. What does that mean for you spiritually? What does that mean energetically? What does it mean? Does it create peace for you? Does it create more anxiety? Does it mean, is it meaningless? Anywhere in between. And the second, today's invitation is similar in that my invitation is to try it on. What does it mean to you to hold virtue in your heart? Does that bubble anything up for you? Does it inspire anything? Does it warm you up at all? This idea that, virtue, this idea of a virtue, a value, a standard that is meaningful to me. It's meaningful about, is it meaningful as as a source of inspiration for you to show up a particular way for yourself, first of all, when you look in the mirror, but also for the people in your life, which is sort of reference to the last phrase. I honor those I hold dear. All the people in your life that are important to you. Could be your family, could be yourself, could be your children, could be your spouse and partner, could be your clients, could be your community. I feel like if more people explored, more men in particular, explored this idea of honoring those we hold dear, there would be a pretty radical shift in people's behaviors. And that one in the middle, of course, has the keys to the kingdom, right? To love without condition. And so my invitation is, what's that mean to you? What's it mean to you to let the doors open, let the walls down, and let the people in and let your love out? I believe that inside your heart beats, inside your chest beats the heart of a king, a giant love, a giant gift to the planet. And maybe you've just been needing or waiting or wanting someone to say, I see you, brother. It's okay. It's okay to be that giant love. You can be a giant love and tremendously strong at the same time. You can let someone in and protect yourself at the same time. You can experience the tremendous joys and benefits of loving and being loved and still be on purpose and still be strong and still stand for what you stand for. And so try it on. Try the second code, the second virtue on. Of course, if you haven't, download them for free. The King's Codes is free. It's my gift to the planet. You can hear the audiobook also free at kingscodes.com. Please like and share and comment and subscribe and all the things you need to do to this podcast so you'll see the next one when it comes out. And yeah, it's great to be here with you, brother. It's an honor of mine to invite you into this conversation. It's part of my purpose on the planet is to hold the foundations and the container for this conversation. And I'll be back. So thank you for being here. In the meantime, yeah, do your best, man. Do your best. Be kind everywhere you can go. Live the first two codes. Try them on. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Truly, truly grateful you are. Peace.
This has been a production of Amazing Media International. AMI, The Deeper Conversation.